Welcome to the program. I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching Sit Down. It's another DJ. Daniel J. Watts here with us. What's up, man?
Hey, man. How you doing?
How's everything going?
Great.
You got a lot going on these days. You got the Joe's Pub gig. You got your show, of course, and Tina. What's life like for you right now?
Life is no sleep. Life is no sleep in a good way. You know, I rest, but yeah, I'm just excited to like be able to bounce back and forth between my own stuff and then someone else's work that speaks to things that I want to talk about.
How do you deal with that? How do you go from somebody else's work to your own work? Because your own work is like super personal. It's going through your whole life, and then it's somebody else's work. How do you deal with that all mentally?
Oh man, they kind of cross over from time to time. You know, my personal work right now, the Jam, Only Child, has a lot to do with therapy, and I feel Ike Turner is the one who did not go to therapy.
He could have used some therapy.
He could have used all the therapy. You know, so like it's kind of the work that I did I can apply to Tina. You know, it goes both ways right now.
How about just the evolution of therapy? Like, this is something we weren't even talking about.
Absolutely
like
not.
with friends, let alone in a show or in public.
No.
What's it been like for you to kind of unpack that just in a very public space?
It's been really cool because it started with my, actually the guy who's my DJ in the show, he started going to therapy first and told me, he was like, maybe you should go. And I was like, I talk about my stuff, I'm cool. I don't need to go to therapy, you know, and then I kind of hit like a bottom where like I couldn't do it myself anymore. So that's when I reached out to a therapist, and then it just kind of like opened up these. I equated to therapy inviting a stranger to the attic of your mind, and you haven't been there in a while, so you kind of like try to hide, and you don't want them to see everything. You don't turn the lights on, and you get real specific about what you're looking for, and then you realize like, okay, if you really want to find that thing, you got to turn the lights on, you got to open these boxes up, and you got to dig deep.
It's gonna get messy.
It's gonna get so messy. Yeah. You have to make a mess to clean it up.
Yeah.
And then get rid of some of this stuff.
But it's empowering to do that work, because I'm sure when you look at your life, like pre-therapy, post-therapy, like during therapy, like how have you grown as a person so far?
Man, I say caterpillar to butterfly, like literally. You know, going from someone who thought they knew a lot about themselves to, you know, really digging and understanding the patterns of why you do certain things.
Right.
I think it's the more important things. Like, why did I do that? Oh, because of that.
Yeah, and how do I not do this again?
How do I not do that again? Because I've been here before, and okay, this is the pattern. I'll keep doing this. Let me get off this treadmill, or rather hamster wheel, and like get on, you know, a road.
Yeah. So how long did it take to build the whole set out?
Oh man, so Only Child, technically I started working on it in July of 17 to now. But one of the pieces in it I wrote 10 years ago. You know, actually a poem about me and my father. My father had a drinking problem, and I promised myself that I would never drink. Only nowadays I wish we could discuss things man to man over a nice cold beer, you know? And it's just like that parallel of like father-son dynamics. But I wrote that, in 2007.
Wow.
Is when I wrote that. So
think about how much life has changed for you since then.
Life has totally changed, yeah.
Like where were you at that point in your life?
I was in the Little Mermaid at the same theater, the Lunt-Fontanne.
Wow.
Lunt-Fontanne Theater was the first time I was there, and I made myself do a 30-30, which is write a poem a day for 30 days. And that was one of the poems I wrote. But yeah, that was my second Broadway show. I was still green, you know, in love with this girl who lived in LA. Like, there's just so many things happening, yeah.
And now you're 8 shows deep on Broadway.
9 shows.
9, well, excuse me. Let me get that right there.
Shows,
9 shows.
9 shows.
How have you built this whole thing out? What have been some of the moments for you that have really taken this thing to the next level?
Oh man, a lot of it had to do with realizing once there was a moment when I got stuck, I felt, which was I was in The Color Purple, then The Little Mermaid, then Memphis. I left Memphis to go do In the Heights. Then In the Heights closed, and I didn't really have a plan after that. And In the Heights was kind of like my dream show, so I didn't really know what to do. I hadn't dreamed any bigger than my current status, and I had to go back to Memphis while I figured things out. And it kind of felt like I was not retrograding, but going, you know, I went from there to like a regional gig. Yeah, I was taking a step back, but I wasn't trying to, I wasn't doing it on purpose. I was trying to move forward, and I found that I just kept throwing the ball backwards. And then I realized like, oh, I actually have to do my own work. It was really that the next move was going to do Aladdin in Seattle, and my part got cut from the show, and I found I was by myself, not doing much in the show, and that's when the Jam first came about. Like I was kind of like, not rock bottom, but just in a low point, so to speak, career-wise, and I was like, oh, I have to do it myself.
You had to figure something out, or else you would have been screwed at that point.
I'd have been done. I'd have been going home. I'd have gone right home.
How long was the In the Heights run before it shut down?
I was there 8 months. Yeah, 8 months not even 8 months, from July to January. So 7 months, yeah.
So that was the dream gig at that point?
That was the dream gig at that point. I had always wanted, I auditioned for Little Mermaid, I was auditioning for The Color Purple and In the Heights when it was going off Broadway at the same time. I got cut from In the Heights, checked my phone, and I had a phone call from Telsey and company saying, "You booked Color Purple." So then it was like the circuitous way of getting back to this show that I wanted
crazy.
to do.
This
It's
whole
crazy.
the whole Broadway world
Yeah.
like is just insane.
It's nuts.
Because we were talking off camera, like you knew people in your life that kind of did a show for a couple of years, and you just
Sure.
thought that was the way it went.
Yeah.
But actually, you really do have to bounce around before you find something that feels good.
Yeah, do like Hill calls it Tarzaning. You know, you kind of have to do this thing. And it made sense on a regional level, like on a regional theater level, you know the show's gonna end in like 6 weeks, like you know that going
Right.
in. Broadway, you don't know how long it's gonna run, how long you'll be there, you know, it's all very subjective.
Yeah, and
So-
you don't know if something's going to pop. Like Hamilton, for example, becomes this monster. We were talking off
Monster.
camera. You thought it would just be like big in the theater world.
Absolutely. I was
So-
like, oh, this would be cool. Like, no one's really into hip hop yet, so
Right.
like, whatever.
So what were those early days like where, first of all, you're auditioning, you
Yeah.
get that gig, you're around all that crew, and they're an amazing crew. So what was
Yeah.
that all like for you?
Oh, it's cool. So like, you know, having done In the Heights already, and then I did The Wiz at City Center with the same creative team. So
Gotcha.
like, I was kind of in the mix
There's a
already.
familiarity there.
Familiarity. I
Yeah.
did a table reading before like Act 1 still wasn't finished yet. So I was kind of in the mix before. Got to this workshop we did with the public, and that's when we were like, oh, this is nuts. Like Lynn had like gone deep, and he had like added all this. There was so much stuff that ended up getting cut by the time we made it to Broadway. But we were like, oh, we're okay. Oh, okay, this is the new thing. He's found it. He's figured it out. He's cracked the code. But we didn't know it was gonna be, you know, Prince showing up, you know, a month before he passed away, and like throwing a party for us. You know?
Seriously?
Yeah, like
What was
literally.
that like? Give me some sort
Nuts.
of.
It was like, so we all, everyone was like checking their phones backstage. You know, the show was still going on. I was like, did you get this email? Hey, did you get this email? And you know, I was like, what? Prince has invited you all to a party of, I can't remember what the club it was. It was somewhere on like 17th Street.
Okay, somewhere downtown.
Somewhere
yeah.
downtown. And we get there and he's not there yet. And all of a sudden he like runs in and like runs upstairs. There's like this like surround kind of area, balcony area. And he's like, turn off the lights. And he's like, no, seriously, turn off the lights. And it like gets really, really dark. And then he just starts DJing
No
his
way.
own hits and singing them. So like, it's just like a cappella tracks. He's just DJing and singing.